Biography of Togbi Kporku III, known in private life as Engineer Gilbert Kome Kporku. A great chief of Anlo has been called home. A strong voice for development of Anlo has suddenly gone silent. There's grief over our land, and our hearts are filled with sorrow. Togbi Kporku III was born at Ho on 8th July 1950 to the late Joseph Kome Kporku, a well-known building contractor of Ho in the Volta region, and the late Madam Agnes Ogleja Boglan Kporku, both citizens of Alakple. Togbi was christened Gilbert by his father's friend, the late contractor Mr. W.E. Bodo Tay of Ho, after a popular British civil engineer, Mr. Gilbert, then working with the Public Works Department in the then Trans-Volta Togoland of the Gold Coast, now Volta region of Ghana. Thus, from birth, Togbi was destined to become an engineer. Togbi was brought up under strong Christian traditions and spent his early childhood days in Ho, where his parents lived. He enrolled at the Roman Catholic primary and middle school from 1955 to 1963, where he was noted for his brilliant academic performance. He easily passed the Common Entrance Examination and gained admission into the Government Secondary Technical School, GSTS, at Takoradi in 1963, with full government scholarship, where he distinguished himself academically and passed his ordinary level and advanced school certificate examinations with distinction. In 1970, he gained admission into the then University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, where in 1974, he graduated with a BSc degree in civil engineering. The Ahavia stool of Alakple became vacant after the home call of Togbi Kporku III of Alakple in 1977. After much consultation, Gilbert Togbi Kporku was selected and installed as the new chief of Alakple under the stool name Togbi Kporku III on 5th of April, 1979. From that humble beginning, Togbi quickly rose to become a knowledgeable and dynamic chief to the admiration and love of the people of Kome and Anlo. Togbi led an exemplary family life. In 1976, Togbi married Monica Lamile Ernest Bruce, and together they had 5 children, Ame, Emefa, Makafui, Shim, and Eli. Togbi was a real embodiment of the sacred values and hallmarks of the Ame clan: fortitude, love of neighbor, peace-loving, and peace-building. Togbi maintained an unbelievably large number of friends and acquaintances to whom his firm but pacifist nature, his quest for excellence and professionalism in all things, and his incredible sense of humor and wit are well known. He was a symbol of hope and role model for the people of Anlo, and contributed towards raising the profile of Anlo in the eyes of other communities in Ghana. Togbi was an astute professional civil engineer of great distinction and was involved in the planning, design, frontline management of several high-profile highway projects, dams, water treatment plants, as well as other industrial structures and buildings throughout Ghana. As a civil engineer, Togbi was one of the few engineers in Ghana to have handled high-profile civil project works. Among these notable projects were, he was a project director of the US $84 million Kita Sea Defense Project, sponsored by the US Exim Bank. From 1993 to 1996, he was the local project manager for the engineering design, construction, and supervision of the new Temahabo dual carriage access road. From 1992 to 1994, he was the engineer in charge of the design and construction supervision of the dam, water pipelines, as well as the treatment ponds for the Ghana Rubber Estates Limited, Takoradi. From 1984 to 1987, he was a resident engineer of Tahal Consulting Engineers Limited for the rehabilitation and emergency repairs of the 42/32-inch Bong Tema Accra pipelines. In 1978, Togbi Kporku was a project manager for Messrs. Asakum Engineering and Construction Limited, and responsible for the construction of the 20 million gallons per day Weja water treatment plant. From 1975 to 1978, he was a deputy site agent for Salini Constructori, South Coast Ghana, for the construction of the Weja Dam project. In May 1984, Togbi teamed up with his former tutor engineer, Professor N.K. Kumaple, one-time Dean of the School of Engineering of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and engineer B.T.K. Adadevo, former Chief Executive of the Ghana Highway Authority, all of blessed memory, to establish the consulting engineering practice of Contera Limited, which is currently among the top 5 engineering consultancies in Ghana. He also served between 1993 and 1996 as Chief Resident Engineer on the World Bank IDA-sponsored Transport Rehabilitation Project, TRP2, where he was responsible for the entire supervision and construction administration of the rehabilitation and maintenance of 370 kilometers of road networks in the Ashanti and Brong-Ahafo regions of Ghana. From 1991 to 1993, Togbi served as a part-time lecturer in project management at the Staff College of the Ghana Armed Forces, TESHI, from 1988 to 1998, and from 2001 till his death. He was the main facilitator and chairman of programs and conferences committee of the Ghana Institution of Engineers, and has been responsible for the organization of all professional development programs of the institution, as well as the investiture and installation of all presidents and councillors of the institution. He represented the Ghana Institution of Engineers at various seminars and international conferences in Malaysia, South Africa, USA, France, Nigeria, and Canada. Togbi was a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Engineers, a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers, and a member of the American Management Association. Togbi traveled widely and visited over 70 countries on all continents of the earth. In 1998, Togbi brought great honor and dignity to our beloved homeland when he was appointed by the then President of Ghana, His Excellency John Rawlings, as Ghana's Ambassador Extraordinaire and Plenipotentiary to the Empire of Japan, and with concurrent accreditation as Ghana's High Commissioner to Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. His tour of duty ended in the year 2001 with a change of government from the NDC to the NPP. From the 5th to 12th April 2004, Togbi and the entire Alakple community celebrated with pomp and pageantry the Silver Jubilee to commemorate 25 years of his sterling leadership as Dufiar of Alakple. Chiefs and people from the entire Anlo land converged at Alakple for the celebration. Among important visitors were his engineering friends, members of government, and the diplomatic corps. Togbi played important roles in the development process of Anlo. He was a member of several delegations to government for important discussions on the development of Anlo. He was engaged in radio and television programs to outdoor the Hogbechocho Festival of Anglos, as well as being a much sought-after guest speaker at several public functions. In an effort to contribute his professional expertise to the development of the Volta region, he became the chairman of the Regional Tender Review Board for the Volta Regional Coordinating Council in 2009. In this capacity, Togbi supervised the award of contracts for roads and other civil works for the region. He was also the chairman of the Board of Governors for the Anlo Senior High School and Circle until his demise. It was a desire of Togbi to spread the Ewe culture and tradition of Anglos wherever he was. He was guest on a number of Ghana television programs at which he explained Anglo traditions and culture, especially prior to the annual Hogbechocho Festival. Togbi was among the founding members and a shareholder of the Anlo Rural Bank. Togbi's vision was to make Alakple and the entire Kome community a prosperous, highly regarded, economically productive, and environmentally friendly community within the Anlo state and the Volta region. His strategy was to provide leadership for community development through advocating its needs to government and other developmental partners. He also led the community in implementing self-help and government programs and projects. He was a symbol of hope to his people and ensured the rule of law and peaceful coexistence among his people. He forged good working relations with the chiefs of Kome, the Anlo Traditional Council, and the Municipal Assembly. As a traditional ruler, Togbi was a torchbearer for the upliftment, peace, and unity of his people. Since his installation as chief, Togbi devoted a significant proportion of his time to the service of his people and the Anlo community. He played advocacy roles and negotiated the provision of several infrastructural and social amenities for the people of Alakple and the entire Kome area. He was instrumental in the establishment of the Anlo Kome Development Coordinating Council in 1992, a superstructure of chiefs of Kome for the development of Kome, and has been its chairman since inception. Togbi also played a key role in the construction of library and kindergarten facilities in Alakple. Togbi spent a lot of time lobbying for the construction of a tarred road for the Kome communities during his lifetime. When he became the chairman of the Volta Regional Tender Review Committee, he made sure the road was awarded for construction. But sadly, Togbi never traveled on even a kilometer of tarred road to Alakple during his lifetime. Togbi served as a member of the Geological Committee of the National Disaster Management Organization and a board member of Friends of the National Zoo. He was also a member of the board of directors of Bulk Oil Storage and Transport. He was a member of the National Planning Task Force for the establishment of 2 new public universities in the Brong-Ahafo and Volta regions under the regime of His Excellency Professor Evans Satamils of blessed memory. He was also a member of the Accra Metropolitan Authority Redevelopment Committee and a member of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Ghana. Togbi had a special place in his heart for the Catholic Church in the region and his hometown, and was a practicing Christian. He attended most important Catholic events, and whenever there was an ordination of a member of the clergy or a church event at Alakple, he would support the event financially and organize a reception after the event in his palace. Togbi provided the porch for the entrance to the chapel, an altar bell, and tiled the floor of the chapel. His love for music made him buy a keyboard, public address system, and a pair of conga drums for the church. Anytime Togbi traveled and saw something that he thought the church might need, he would buy it for the church. Late in 2014, Togbi experienced ill health. Both family and friends rushed to his side to comfort him and to assure him that God would intervene. After a series of tests and treatment, Togbi recovered reasonably well, and it was believed that the worst was over. In June 2015, Togbi lost his elder sister, Mrs. Togbi Kporku III. This also came as a blow to him, though he did his best to look good in public. Despite his ill health, he managed to preside over the funeral planning and burial of his sister AC, and he stayed at Alakple until all funeral accounts and funeral rites were completed. At the end of his stay at Alakple, his health deteriorated, and he was rushed to 37 Military Hospital in Accra for medical attention. Despite all the care and attention given to Togbi at the hospital by family and medical staff, he passed away on the 6th of November 2015 at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. A mighty oak tree has fallen in Anlo land, replacement of which will be difficult to find, as Togbi had his own unique style of leadership. He was a man of principle and was never afraid to speak his mind on any challenging issue. We pray that as he embarks on his journey to the home of his ancestors, God Almighty will give him rest in his bosom, where he will find everlasting peace. He has indeed left his footprints in the sands of time. The people of Anlo and Alakple will forever remember Togbi Kporku III. In the annals of history, as a great leader that once lived. Togbi Kporku.
Tribute to my beloved husband, whom I affectionately call Gil. If we live, it is for the Lord that we live. And if we die, it is for the Lord that we die. So whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. Romans 14:8. Loved ones lost are with us still, just in a different place. They go on. They live in our hearts and always will. How do I, as a wife, say goodbye to a man to whom I had been married for 39 years? How do I, as a mother, bid farewell to the loving and devoted father of my children? How do I bid adieu to my beloved and dearest Gil? I do so with tears, sadness, tender memories, special thoughts, but above all, with everlasting love. Before I met my Gil, I prayed hard to our Almighty Heavenly Father to give me a husband who would be his heart's desire. As it turned out to be, I first met my Gil on the morning of the 6th of June, 1976, on our way to work. I was 22 years old, and you were 26 years old. And the way you rattled the Queen's language alone enchanted me. You were simply irresistible and easily became my first choice. In no time, we became very close. I told my friends at work that the engineer I had met sounded very confident and possessed sterling qualities of seemingly unearthly origins. This you proved several times over, beyond my wildest imagination. As the site agent for the Wager Dam construction, your early career as engineer was very demanding. However, every weekend was our time to socialize. Invitations to parties and get-togethers were countless, and we enjoyed our outings thoroughly as a young couple. We were married the following year, 1977. You thoroughly spoiled me, pampered me, and showered me with abundant love. We soon became proud parents with the birth of our dear son, Ame. Barely 2 years later, you were installed as the chief of Alakple, following the birth of our beloved daughter, Emefa, and with the increasing responsibilities as a professional engineer and a chief, we thought it best for me to resign from my job as a civil servant and to take on the affairs of the home and the demands of our growing family of 5 in order to ensure the proper upbringing of our children. Through all the unique trials, tribulations, and triumphs in addition to family encounters, I faithfully supported you in every endeavor till the day of your home call. You wanted to throw a lavish party this year to celebrate our 40 years together as a couple. Gil, where are you to enjoy it? You were to be honored by the American Institution of Engineers with an award of excellence in your engineering career. Gil, where are you to receive it? At no time during our 39 years of marriage did I once dream of your untimely demise. My dear Gil, I'm wrought with anger at cold, heartless, ruthless death. I am crippled with a grief that comes from knowing that your admirable uniqueness is nowhere to be found again. I'm left feeling completely lost and alone without you. Let me seize this opportunity to thank God and the former President Rawlings for the prestigious office bestowed upon you as an ambassador. It was a rare opportunity for you to take a break from your hectic schedule as a founding partner of Contera, as a chief, and from the many social and professional engagements you were involved in. As husband and wife, we were able to spend more time together, away from the children, renew our marriage vows, and strengthen our relationship even more. The innumerable foreign dignitaries we met during our travels to the 25 countries we visited together were frequently blown away by your personality, diction, and intelligence. They could not comprehend how someone born, raised, and educated soul in Ghana could have the high level of knowledge and insight about affairs of the world that you had. Ah, what a painful loss. You proved in your words and deeds to be the husband and father I had hoped and prayed to the Almighty Father for. Not only were you a solid figure in each of our children's lives, I also witnessed the number of family, friends, and acquaintances, too numerous to name, whose lives you touched, inspired, or changed, simply by living the example of what a decent human being should be: God-fearing, hardworking, loving, responsible, and constantly learning. The fond memories we shared and your favorite hymn are what comfort me as I walk through the valley of the shadow of my deep anguish. I want to sing this hymn for his spirit, his favorite hymn. When peace like a river attended my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is one, it is one.
With my soul May God richly bless you wherever you are, till we meet again. Gil, enjoy the divine bliss in the bosom of our Maker. May you rest in perfect peace. Tribute by his daughter, Dr. Emefa Kporku. I think I was nominated to read the tribute because I'm special. We're father and daughter, you know. This was my dad's response to a nosy waiter at a restaurant in September last year, who had other ideas on his mind when he saw us eating together. In addition to these, we got quite a few stares every time we went to town together. My typical response was to roll my eyes in exasperation and shake my head. It made me start to think, perhaps fathers needed to spend more time with their daughters so that it wouldn't be such an unusual sight. It also made me realize just how fortunate I was that my relationship with my father had transformed to the point where we were like good friends. My father instilled in us a desire to pursue excellence in everything we did. He came to realize that, to his delight and dismay, I might add, each of us was exactly like him in our own unique way. We all shared his love of books and hard work, and were just as stubborn and strong-willed as he was. Although I was arguably the person most affected by his death, I can also say I was the one least affected by it. I was devastated because I felt that in spite of my seemingly superhuman efforts, I had failed my most important patient. We had won many battles together where his health was concerned. And I should also add, while he was my most important patient, he was also my most interesting, most difficult, and most demanding patient. I wanted him to live longer so badly that at times it felt like I was infusing the very essence of my life into his being. In the end, his body was not able to contain such a vibrant spirit and personality any longer. And even then, I understood why. I believe that God answered the prayer of a little girl to make her daddy go to heaven when he died. My father surrendered his life to God before he died, and I and many others saw the transformation that took place in him afterwards. He exuded a peace and joy that I had never seen before. He opened up to me a lot more when he discovered just how similar we were, and also when he realized that I understood him more than most. In the end, I believe that my father chose to leave because he had a taste of the indescribable peace and joy on the other side. He had done his best where my brothers and I were concerned, and he was content to leave us because he knew we would do fine. While he rarely sat any of us down and gave us various lectures about life, we learned by watching him. He passed on an invisible baton to us and expects us to get to work and run with it. He had lived a full life, full of achievements, and by any earthly measurement, a successful life. When asked what he would do upon retirement, he said, "Oh, I will just sit and read." So while many were shocked at his passing, I wasn't really. I knew what he wanted. He had done just about everything he set out to do on earth, and for that reason was content. Like many who have lost a loved one, I have received more than my fair share of what I like to call signs from heaven. I am fully assured that my father is at peace, and for that reason, I am able to move on with my own earthly purpose. I have no regrets because I did my absolute best for him. I sleep peacefully because my father knew, beyond a shadow of doubt, that his children loved him and would do anything for him. I now realize the cruelty in death lies not in the fact that the other person is gone, but that you know they're still near. You sense their presence. You know they're with you, watching over you, and perhaps even helping influence events positively in your life. But you can't see them or sit and chat with them. I can't go with him to any art galleries or antique shops or bookshops, places we frequented many times in the past. His silence in our lives is deafening, and while we miss him, we know that he would never have tolerated us sitting around moping. We look forward to being reunited with him again someday. Thank you.
Tribute by the Ghana Institution of Engineers. The Professional Engineering Career and Association of Engineer Togbi Kporku III with the Ghana Institution of Engineers started when he registered with the Ghana Institution of Engineers as a corporate member in 1983. He later became a fellow of the institution in 1998. In year 2002 and 2003, the late Engineer Togbi Kporku III served on the Council of the Ghana Institution of Engineers as a national councillor and also served as vice president. As a national councillor, he served as chairman of the Programs and Conferences Committee and on several standing committees of the institution as a member. Though the Constitution specifies members of the Executive Committee of the institution, he was co-opted as an ESCO member in year 2004 owing to his great contributions on issues. During his chairmanship of the Programs and Conferences Committee, he organized and facilitated major events of the institution, including professional development programs. As a resource person and a facilitator of most of the institution's professional development programs, the late Engineer Togbi Kporku III would every time donate the honorarium due him to the institution. He chaired various technical sessions of the Ghana Institute of Engineers and the Nigerian Society of Engineers conferences. He personally undertook travel to the World Federation of Engineering Organizations conferences in order to strengthen the Ghana Institute of Engineers' relationship with its allied professional bodies. He represented the institution at the 90th Annual Conference of FIDIC, held in Copenhagen, Denmark, from 12 to 16 September 2004. He also served as a resource person in engineering students' career sessions and spoke on the topic Engineering Achievements in Ghana. In year 2001, when the institution re-established the Research Library of the Engineers Center, Engineer Togbi Kporku III was one keen and regular visitor to the library. He did not only come in as a user of the library, but walked in occasionally with magazines, pamphlets, periodicals, information on the acquisition of library materials, and a host of addresses to link the institution with the sources through which we could improve the standard of the library. In June 2005, the late Engineer Togbi Kporku donated the latest set of catalogs, and this same in August 2005, to the Ghana Institute of Engineers Engineering Documentation and Information Center to keep the GHIE on its toes in terms of publications and constitutional issues. His contribution to the Research Library was unrequited but immense. Engineer Togbi Kporku III was one keen member that took the well-being of all the members of the institution he knew and the secretariat staff to be of paramount interest to him. He would occasionally walk in the secretariat and go to every desk to ask of how each person was faring. So gentle and so subtle was this relationship that it went unnoticed by all those around him. His sense of humor was superb, but always flowed with that same seasoned, gentle speech, characteristic of a distinguished diplomat. The late legend, Engineer Togbi Kporku III, one day visited the institution and thought the conference table in the council chamber was not befitting. He immediately arranged and donated an impressive conference table and chairs for the chamber, which is currently being used. In addition, he also donated a semi-digital camera and assisted financially in the acquisition of an LCD projector. He further donated an amount purposely for the purchase of furniture and computers for the Secretariat. In year 2010 and 2012, the late Engineer Togbi Kporku III hosted the international delegates during the Engineering Week celebrations. He gave some sponsorship for the week celebrations and also presidential addresses. Engineer Togbi Kporku III also gave some financial assistance to the women engineering, which we call WINE. The late Engineer Togbi Kporku III's recent participation in GHIE's activities included the chairing of the 45th presidential address on Thursday, September 25th, 2014, under the theme, Transportation and Quality of Life. He was also a guest speaker during the launching of the Engineering Excellence Awards, Ghana, held on June 13, 2014, at the Engineers Center, Accra, where he gave an address on the topic, Engineering, the Backbone for Economic Development. In March 2014, he presented an excellent paper during the Engineering Week celebration on the topic, How to Hug a Porcupine. The real gentleman should be gentle in everything, at least in everything that depends on himself. Courage, temper, constructions, aims, desires. He ought therefore to be mild, calm, quite even temperate, but not hasty in judgment, not proud, not spacious, not oppressive, for these are contrary to gentleness. His words will be just an apt description of our late friend and colleague. May the soul of this cherished and illustrious son of the land rest in peace.
Amanguchi konya to Togbi agbeshi awusu evelia. Amekenenya Anlo pe apadadagbo. Agbagboglombe lapo iva imefe hogbototo duduma. Wodan kakarari be Anlovio ohonlawo na dogbena wo mafia. Gbemagba khama konye eye mi mo kpombe anu nenema le azarugba ha gake le ademakpo ke me ka demagbe eke mi no gbado ta mi afa zefe kpaji egble eye mi dede se be echi zazage afiao dumavio amashia ma kokofo na mauba na kponblani na mi Remaye nye asakli samoike nele kotokmona ma adi. Igarani be nye mobile phone adi ala ne mazeshia mo nye makoni. Kakanu aglo namba makwe. Eya mabia mafike nele. Marombe mal azarupe. Eyo gabiambe na mado danyare na ode atanu ajiji magbina mareko. Yaba ayo glona nyaike avuvu ya le gbegbe na ye be Togbi Kporku etonya yikope ma won kuna be anyaike Shakespeare globe nanya be amagan okukuga kama to adrapa ze shofia na yenye mazole Togbi Kporku pe akuyima o aike wana oji mgbamagba yeda ze shebe afiao fe nono matotrom togwa be anyese banebe Togbi Kporku achiota ko sana onya na banu zo ha anya adidim la maodomi Togbi Kporku III ana mi katã ba ŋlɔ dukɔ ne mieʋuʋu elabe tɔgbi nye tɔgbi wɔnuteƒewo dometɔ ɖeka le aŋlɔ me eye eƒe dzidzivevie nye be ale yi ke aŋlɔ mamam fifia yalia ɖo dzidzi woanye dukɔ ɖeka anye ame yi ke gbɔ yesrɔ̃nu le eye ekpe ɖe ŋu le yeƒe fiaɖunyawo me elabe eɖu fia hafi eɖu fia. Wona mi nya be eyi ke etɔgbi Kporku III nɔ srɔ̃ ku le Alakple afia enɔ kua me sesĩe eye hloluiawo wòtsoa woe be eƒe lãme gbɔdzɔ le ma ta wokɔe yi ɖe ege dɔyɔƒe be woatrɔ sie ŋuti hafi nɔ srɔ̃ na kua tɔgbi be Rites yi ɖe gbɔ le eƒe aƒe me be yeado baba nɛ elabe yese be ekua ɖe zɔ ɖe dzi wòɖi ama afi ma dzi wògblɔ nɛ le be yeƒe lãme va gblẽ alebe yevi wɔnuteƒe aɖe le edziehe Afrika eye aƒenɔ ya edɔ yɔla wònye eya ta ekplɔe yi ɖe afi ma godzi eye wòtrɔ sie ŋuti be yeƒe lãme nasẽ ana enya be eye ɖo dɔnɔkɔdzi afi ma yeva zu dɔnɔ vevietɔ kekeake le dɔnɔwo domi eye dɔyɔla ɖe sia ɖe dze agbagba be yana yagã eye do guia edukɔ ƒe nyɔnyɔ ƒe nyawo ko yewo gagblɔ gbe ma gbe eye edzea yewo ɖoa yede zesie be ale eƒe lãmesẽ na tẽ lãmesẽ megale eŋuti o keke gblɔ be anye hloliawo tso le nɔsrɔ̃ƒe kua yena tɔgbi gbɔgblɔm be yewo kpakple Togbi Kporku III yewo zu xɔlɔ̃wo le ƒe ve xe ke woɖo abe aʋadada 14 na ŋlɔwo megbe tso gbe ma gbe dzi koa nenye be hiã na aɖaŋu aɖe hiã nuteƒe kpɔkpɔ ɖe yetena ɖe ŋuti eye ne yete ɖe ŋutia mekua enya ye o agblɔ be tɔgbia de zesie be ele be woaɖo gɔmeɖokpe ne aŋlɔ dukɔ eye wòɖe mɔ be woazẽ eƒe dɔwɔƒe be woawɔna vevie afi ma dzi ke yewo ɖoe le be anyo be egbeƒã ɖe mɔ nanɔ aŋlɔ dukɔ si eye yewoyɔ be Hogbe FM hekpe ɖe ma ŋutia yewo gaƒo no tso nu bubu yiwo ke wole be yewoawɔ be aŋlɔ dukɔ na yi ŋgɔ le gbɔgbɔme kple ŋutilã me nyawo katã me yewo ɖi be yewoaɖo aɖaŋudeha aɖe xe ke anɔ amenugbe eke dekute ɣe mawo yi me yewo takpekpe geɖe gake nu yi ke yede zesie le eƒe takpekpe wɔwɔ ŋutie nye be nenye be yewo takpekpea nu kɔa yewo da asi enu me godoo nenye be manyinɔgo hã ewɔ ɖoɖo ɖe ema ya ŋuti na yewo amewo ke wotsɔ be wonye aŋlɔdukɔ ƒe gɔmeɖokpe dɔwɔha wova ɖo anyi azɔ le dumegã Paul Kumaxɔ te eye wobia tso meyɔ agbleze si be wòanya fɔgedola yewo wo etsa le aŋlɔviwo nuteƒewo dzi eye wone ga hene aha yi ke aɖo dɔwɔƒe be yewoaɖo ne gbeƒãɖeɖe aɖoɖo nu ye na me yewo mote ne dɔwɔƒe nye be dukɔ ƒe dɔwɔha yi ke nanana mɔ ɖe gbalẽ be woɖo nyakaka dɔwɔƒe yawoa wogbena na yewo eye aƒe yi ke yewo dzi be yewoaza yi ke nye dumegã wumi ƒe aƒea dumegã wumi va tri va zu amedzrowo xɔƒe egbɔgblɔm be dɔwɔha ya dɔwɔm hafi míaƒe awɔme fiaɖoɖo ƒe ekplɔamatia va le afɔ na aŋlɔdukɔ nu ya egba ŋlɔ ale gbegbe be dumeviwo ke ne le dɔwɔha ya ma wotre megbe dede agblɔm be tso gbe be kekoe nye fia kɔa nenye be Kristo dzi ƒe azã ɖo dzia eɖɔ Kristo dzidzi ƒe agbalẽvi ɖe abe ŋkuɖoɖo dzi ene aba po eva yima kwe matanwodu de yo eye glonya na mianya be ale kwa kristo mi yo le nyehi Togbi po no zojina ye eye ye daze shie be mawo nkuna ye be dukola kokwa bubuto John Rawlings ato shaji be wonu etefe le Japan kle dukɔ bubu aɖewo me o. Amanuvanu ɖeka yi ke ɖe nɔ tɔgbi sia nye be adutoƒo nuƒoƒo ele si alebe ne bo nu ƒoma nenye be wonu mezo dzi na wo hã eƒe nyawo ya woto mesɔ ge na o. Alebe nu ya wɔ be nɔviawo ke nenye mɔɖaŋunyalawo kpene zi geɖe be wòava ƒo ne yewo. Apa dzidzi vevie nye be afiawo nakpɔ gome le dukɔ ƒe sewo ƒe viviviwo ke le míaƒe ntome me. Ade zesi fiawo ƒe nuvanyenye le dukɔ ya ƒe ŋgɔyiyi me. Eya ta míaƒe district assemblywo ko woɖo alo ŋutome sesese dɔ hã woɖo da ɖia ekpɔ gbɔ be le be fiawo hã nanɔ me elabe assembly me la aɖewoa wodzi be ava xɔ fiawo ƒe dɔwɔwɔ. Ava megbe ɖeka be wokpi be wòava ƒo nu tso agbɔgbɔme fia kple ale yi ke míagagbɔ si atrɔ le fiawo ŋuti abe ekplɔlawo ne ŋuti. Nuƒo ya wòƒoa eɖe fi na ame geɖe. Biabia le sia bia tɔgbawoe nye be agɔkae míedze. Nu katã miezikpie kpɔ mi míage ɖe fukpekpe me ale eye miadzilawo xɔm le mía si. Tɔgbi gblẽ na wo be wogblẽ mi ɖi akpa eye mi le fu kpem. Eya ta nenye be anɔ wo gbɔ no dzagbagba niwo ke le be míawɔ fi tɔn afɔ va míawoe. Emɔ ya dzi zɔm mi le zi ɖeka koe me sia me zɔ ge. Eya ta nɔ nyuia aɖe li be nawɔ woe gba megagblɔ be tsɔ ne yawoe. Tɔgbi dzidzɔ le ŋutifafa me hede nyuie Mawu ŋutɔ na axɔ ɖe eƒe fafa me. Amen.
Koko, ye tsɔ mía nɔvi Togbi Kporku le asiwo me dem. Dzideƒo blibo le mía si bena eya kple ame siwo ku le Kristo me la, woafɔ ɖe agbe le keke mamlɛa dzi eye woanɔ agbe kple Kristo heyi mafɔ. Yeda gbe na wo ɖe yayra siwo katã nètsɔ nɛ le agbe sia me. Hetsɔ fia beléle si nètsɔna na mí katã kple ɖekawɔ si le mí kpakple ame kɔkɔewo dome le Yesu Kristo me la ta. Aƒetɔ, se míaƒe gbedodoɖa eye nàkɔ mía nɔvi Togbi Kporku ɖe paradiso la me. Nàkpe ɖe mía ŋuti be míafa akɔ na mía nɔewo ɖe xɔse ƒe kakaɖedzi si le mía si la ta va se ɖe esime mí katã míakpe le Kristo me. Anɔ xɔwo kple mía nɔvi sia heyi mavɔ to Kristo míaƒe Aƒetɔ la me. Amen.
Baba Nami, Baba Nami, Baba Nami,